We discuss the permissible times. Now we're discussing the mustahab times, which times it is better to read salah. And we've covered Fajr. We said Fajr is best about um, 15 minutes, 20 minutes before the time comes out. Zohor, we discussed, we said Zohor months later according to Hanafi madhab. Then we discuss also the Isha time, the Asr time. We said Asr, delay it as much as possible, not into the makruh time where the sun becomes weak and you can look directly. And the reason why we say delay it is because according to Hanafi madhab, once you read your Asr salah, you can't read any nafil salah after that. Yes, um, you can read qadha namaz, but not once the sun becomes reddish, etc. Right? So that was not in Maghrib namaz. We said permissible time is right till the whiteness disappear, but best is try to once you certain the time is in to read it immediately, right? Then we're discussing the Isha times. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Read it. Right. The best is تأخير الإشاء إلى ما قبل ثلث الليل. If you divide the night into, for example, three portions, just say the night is 9 hours, right? And you divide it into three portions. So after sunset, say sunset is 6 o'clock. So 7, 8, 9. So just before that, 9 o'clock, you read it that time, just before the last portion of the first third of the night lapses, right? You understood that? So what ta'khirul isha'i, to delay isha ila ma qabla thuluthul layl, to what is just before the one third of the night. And what's the proof for that? Read the proof. Yeah. What's our proof to say that you should delay to just before one third of the night? بقوله عليه السلام, because of the statement of Nabi Sallam, لولا أن أشق على أمتي, if it was not that I would find it hard to, or لولا أن أشق, if I did not want to make it harder for my ummah, right? If it is not that I don't want to make hard, for the night. But because I don't want to make it hard, I won't say you have to read it till then. You can read it the moment with the time coming, right? Then ولأن فيه قطع الثمر المنهي عنه بعده. Like Sahib Hidayah normally gives a naqli dalil and he gives a akli dalil. What is his akli dalil? His akli dalil is, look, the hadith engaging in futile and useless talk at night, right? This is called samura. What is it called? Samura. So, ulama mentioned when you read your Isha namaz, etc., you shouldn't waste your time in useless, redundant activities. You should take to bed, sleep early, wake up early, read Tahajjud namaz. So this is called al-samaratul manhiyu. Al-samarul manhiyu, the prohibited. So why they saying delay the salah till one third is a proof. One is obviously the hadith that you mentioned, that is dalile naqli. Dalile akli is that, look, if you read Isha too early, right, and in winter the nights are very, very long, then obviously people are not going to sleep so early. So then they inadvertently they're going to fall into the prohibited act of engaging in futile talk and futile activity after Isha. So rather delay the Isha so that the chances of a person falling into the prohibited talk is lesser. You understand what I'm saying? So this is the reason, the logical reason why we would rather delay the salat, especially maybe in the winter, because I said the nights are extremely long. So now you're going to imagine you're reading Isha namaz at 6:30, 6:45, some places. Now people sleep 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. So inadvertently they are going to engage in this. So rather delay it till one third. So you're saving the people from engaging into the prohibited act. That's the reason, right? So لأن فيه قطع الثمر المنهي عنه بعده, right? Then, so that's one opinion, right? Then there's an وقيل في الصيف تؤجل كي لا تتقلل الجماعة. It is said, one opinion is that in summer also, in summer hasten the salah as the moment the time comes in. Now, in previous times, obviously, there wasn't lights, there wasn't roads, there wasn't electricity, there wasn't asphalt roads. So to go out in the nighttime, and it would be very, very difficult. Like now, you jump into your car, in your garage, you pull into a light lit up parking lot, you go to the masjid. But things back in the day where it was dark, there weren't roads, people had to walk, etc. So the best thing is that in previous times, what you do in summer, especially when it's difficult for people to be out late at night, rather read the Isha early finish. So that وَقِيلَ فِي السَّيْفِ تُعَجَّلُ كَيْ لَا تَتَقَلَّلُ الْجَمَاعَ. It is said in summer, hasten to ajal, bring the Isha the moment the time come in, so that the Jamaat is not decreased. So you see to what extent Shariat, it takes the heart, it considers the Jama'ah, that people must be there for Salah. They mustn't, they mustn't, you mustn't time is such that people will miss Jama'ah. Now, so the next portion as mentioned here is quite interesting. He says, وَالتَّأْخِيرُ إِلَى نِصْفِ اللَّيْلِ مُبَاحٌ. Now, in the Hanafi madhab, so we said it is better to read it what? Before 1/3 of the night, right? Follow nicely. See, look, go back there, see there? So, وَتَأْخِيرُ إِشَاء إِلَى مَا قَبْلَ ثُلُثُ اللَّيْلِ. So it's better to delay the shuttle before 1/3 of the night. But if you divide the night into two portions, right, then it is perfectly fine. It is perfectly fine to delay till before half of the night, right? That is permissible. Without karahat. Why? They say, see, there are two contradictory proofs here. One proof says what? Do it early, right? Isn't it? And so that the Jamaat can be big, right? And then one proof says, do it later so that people do not get caught up into the what? Into Samara. So you have two outwardly contradictory proofs. So when you get two things that are contradicting, what you do? You say just leave it. Let it revert to its default ruling. That's what I'm saying. So there's a principle also you do in fiqh. And also there's a principle you do hadith. It goes as follows. إِذَا تَعَارَضَا تَسَاقَطَا. When two things contradict each other, they basically cancel each other out and they nullify each other. So one proof is make it quickly so that people don't miss the Jama'at, right? People want to sleep early, especially in summer. And one proof say delay it a little bit so that if people are less prone to fall into the prohibited talk after Isha. So this is also important, Masla, that you must remember that after Isha, yes, if you got work, specific work, homework, schoolwork, madrasa work, mutala'a, business work, kitchen work, the ladies got, that's different. Here we speak about engaging in wasteful activities, like how we, in our context, will say maybe Allah Ta'ala protect watching television, scrolling through the phone, and all that type of things, right? So the one dalil is hasten, the one dalil is delay. So the two, they cancel each other out. And then once the two cancel each other out, we go to the default ruling, which is what? That it can be done till half of the night. See, لأن الدليل الكراهة, the dalil of karat of delaying, وهو تقليل الجماعة, it is that it will result in the blessing of Jamaat. عارضه الدليل الندب, that the proof of it's mustahab to delay it, it contradicts it. And what was that one? وَوَقَطْعُ السَّمَرِ, right? It is cutting off the talking, right? بِوَاحِدٍ for a person. فَيَثْبُتُ الْإِبَاحَةُ. So the default ruling of ibahat till half of the night will be there, right? Then they think, وَإِلَى نِصْفِ الْأَخِيرِ مَكْرُوهٌ. To delay it to the second half of the night, it is not permissible. Maybe sometimes, not sorry, not permissible, it is makruh, is reprehensible. It is just like sometimes, like if a person has a valid reason, like I told you, you were busy, Allah Ta'ala protect, something happened, you were pride, maybe you went to hospital or accident or this, or maybe you're traveling, whatever. So you make one stop for Isha and one stop for Fajr. That is acceptable, no problem with that. But to habitually do that, like maybe the ladies, they decide, okay, for the men, alhamdulillah, they have to go to the masjid, so they maybe not so prone to this. So the ladies say, now I'll sleep away now, inshallah. I'm going to wake up for tahajjud. As it is, I'm going to wake up for tahajjud. I wake up tahajjud time. So technically speaking, that is the isha time. Tahajjud time is isha time. But now without a valid reason to habitually just, now you want to wake up, say for instance, Fajr time come in 6 o'clock. So you habitually you say, I'm going to wake up 5:30. I'm going to read my isha namaz. Then I'm going to read my Quran. Then just read my witr before the entry time of Fajr. Then I read a witr. And then I read my Fajr. And then I go and sleep. So to do that continuously, it is makruh. And I told you, in the Hanafi fiqh books, when you get the word makruh, means makruh tahrimi. So, wa ila nisfil akhiri makruh. So now this is a separate mas'ala to the previous mas'ala was saying that before 1/3 of the night is fine. And we gave you why, because the two contradictory masail, they cancel each other out, right? Then this is separate. So you can delay till before 1/3 of the night, but do not go beyond that. Do not, right? So, wa ila nisfil akhiri makruhun. Why? Right? Lima fihi min taqlil al-jama'ati. Because one reason for the main folk is this here, that it will result in the decreasing of jama'at, right? وقد انقطع السمر قبله. And obviously, uh, you can't say now you want to allow them to read late so they can speak all night. Long before that, people would have stopped engaging in futile activities. So that so 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 samara, like how we said, to delay so that people can speak. You don't have to delay so much till the last half of the night. By then, people would have stopped speaking already. So there's no real dalil. There's no proof to justify delaying it beyond the first half of the night to allow the people to engage in their samara. Are you with me? Okay, read the next one. You got tummy or tama'a? Right. Right. So let me just explain this here. We did discuss this before. That's pretty simple. If you are accustomed to waking up for tahajjud namaz, you used to, you wake up all the time, right? Then the best thing to do is when you wake up before the exit time of tahajjud namaz, 6 rakats, 8 rakats, make dua for me also. And then just before the entry time of Fajr, then you read your witr. So the most virtuous witr, other than for the men in Ramadan, they read in Jamaat in the masjid, right? But other than that, the default ruling is that the most virtuous time for witr is just before the entry time of Fajr. If you are certain you will wake up, if you are a person that usually wakes up and you know you can wake up, right? But if you sleep like a log, you work very, very hard, or you're studying, etc., etc., and you are tired, you got no guarantee you're going to wake up that time, you don't normally wake up, then it is better for you to read your witr before you go and sleep. In fact, I mentioned to you people, as Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala was, in so to say, student of deen. He was a muhaddith. He used to rehearse all his ahadith at night time. So Nabi Sallallahu said to him, Abu Hurairah, you are a student, you work hard. So for you, you must read your witr before you sleep. Right. So if you okay, maybe now in winter, maybe now like here by us, you can read your tahajjud namaz right through till about 5 to 6. So if people generally wake up that time, then it's more virtuous, right? So that's what he's saying there. ويستحب في الوتر لمن يعرف صلاة الليل آخر الليل. It is mustahab with regards to the witr. لمن يعرف, for that person is accustomed صلاة الليل, to the salat of the night, tahajjud namaz آخر الليل, that تأخير إلى آخر الليل, right? فإن لم يثق الانتباه, if he's not certain وثق يثق الانتباه, that he will wake up, أو ترى قبل النوم, he will make his witr before he sleeps. And what's the proof? بقوله عليه السلام, because of the statement of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, من خاف ألا يقوم آخر الليل, that person who fears he's unable to wake up in the latter part of the night, فليوتر أوله, then he can read his witr before that, right? But ومن طمع, who is desirous أن يقوم آخر الليل, that he wants to stand up at the last part of the night, فليوتر آخر الليل, that's also a zarf there, eh? And he will read his witr to the latter part of the night. So this is strictly speaking about the witr. And we can add on this also here. This comes in Shami, the most authoritative Hanafi book, that if your Salatul Layl or your Tahajjud Namaz, if you can wake up, Alhamdulillah, mashallah, very good before you sleep. But if you can't do that, then before you sleep also, you read the 2 rakat, 4 rakat, 6 rakat, inshallah, you will get that reward as well. You also get the reward of Tahajjud Namaz, right? Because it's also Tahajjud time, right? Because the whole evening is Tahajjud time after Isha time. And even on a lesser level than that, even lesser than that is when you read your Isha Namaz, after your 4 rakat Sunnat Mu'akkada, sorry, for Sunnat Farz, there's 2 Sunnat Mu'akkada, isn't it? Now that 2 Sunnat Mu'akkada you got there, right? That is Nafil, it's 2 rakat Nafil, isn't it? So you can make intention. There's a manam, be manam. When you read a 2 rakats after 2 rakats sunnat muakkada, you make intention. Ya Allah, this is, you don't have to say it, just in your mind. This is 2 rakats nafil of Isha. And also in this, I am including the intention of Salatul Layl. I'm including the intention of Salatul Tahajjud. Inshallah, you will get the reward also of Salatul Layl. So this is the minimum, that you double up your intention in the 2 rakats after the 2 rakat sunnat muakkada. One step better than that is before you sleep, you make a wudu and you read Salatul Layl. And obviously the best is that just before the exit time of Isha, sorry, first you read your Salatul Layl and then you read your witr after that, right? So I hope that's clear. So inshallah, Allah Ta'ala give us the ability to practice for it. Right, carry on, read the next one. Okay. So this next masla, to understand this masla, you must remember here, we are working in a place where people didn't have clocks. They would rely more on ru'ya. Like I told you, they were experts. They could see, they'd look out, see the sun, etc., and work out the times. Now, وَإِذَا كَانَ يَوْمَ غَيْمٍ. غَيْمٍ, you got غِيمٍ. Nothing in your kitab. What you got in your kitab there? Raimin, yeah. So if it is a day of clouds, cloudy day, right? Now what you do? You got, like in our time, you got clocks, but there was no clocks. فالمستحب في الفجر والظهر والمغرب تأخيرها. So then the preferred thing to do with regards to your fajr, right? And your zuhr and your maghrib تأخيرها. Why? Because you're depending on the sun. Now you can't see exactly as the sun set or has the sun passed its zawal, right? Right? So rather delay it a bit to make sure the time is entered. Why? Because I told you, rather in the Hanafi madhab, you can't farz ibadat until the time doesn't enter. If the time enters, right, and then it becomes qaza, that is better than reading it before its time. You understand what I'm saying? Because we say, look here, something didn't become compulsory upon you, so how can you discharge it? So in the Hanafi madhab, is it the question of reading the salah before its entry time or reading a question after its entry time? It's better to read it after its entry time. So under no circumstances can you read a salah before its entry time, because it hasn't become farz upon you as yet. It hasn't become obligatory upon you. So if you delay, if you say, yeah, but be delaying, what if the time go out? You say better run the risk of delay and reading it after its time than reading it rather than reading it where you run the risk of reading before its time. Because that is why also ulama explain that if you, obviously a person, you should never miss your salah, inshallah, never ever miss your salah. If you really want to read your salah, you can read it wherever you want, on the plane, you have your bottle desk. No excuse not to read salah. But if it comes to the question of you're going to miss a salah, don't misunderstand me. There's no surah in the Hanafi madhab where you, okay, there is one or two surahs that come like when there's extreme danger, you're traveling, it comes in the kitabs also, but maybe not so relevant to us. You're traveling to an area. Yeah, so first tahajjud, then witr. The best thing is first tahajjud, witr, first tahajjud, then witr. You read your tahajjud if you can, if you're used to waking up, read your as much tahajjud as you want to, and just before the exit time of Isha, you read uh, your witr, right? So I was telling you, there is one surah there. If you in previous times you're traveling through a very very dangerous place, in previous times, and then if you're going to dismount, then you're going to the chance of getting like, okay, maybe I'll give you an example. You are traveling here okay, we're going to Durban now, right? Now here at one stage, now I think the roads are safe, alhamdulillah, but there's one stage when you pass through the Transkei and Ciskei, the chances of getting hijacked, etc., was very, very big, very great. In fact, some of our family members got hijacked and they got shot in the arms and all that type of thing. So like so the ulama will say, when there's this extreme necessity, rather read it after its time. By reading it before its time, it's not valid. You understood? So that in that same reasoning is applicable here, that rather delay and run the rest of reading it after its time, because at least you know it has become farz upon you. So فالمستحب في الفجر والظهر والمغرب تأخيرها, right? وفي العصر والعشاء تعجيلها. But with regards to Asr on a cloudy day, right? والعشاء and the Isha namaz تعجيلها. You must read it quickly. Why? لأن في تأخير العشاء تقليل الجماعة. So I told you again, اعتبارا على المطر, previous days, say in Urdu, say kachi rasta, what do you say, raw roads, not so when it's raining, the desert, it's mud, etc., dark, water flowing. So there, once you certain the time is in, read it, don't delay it. Why? Because it will result in تقليل الجماعة. لأن في تأخير العشاء, in the delaying of the Isha, تقليل الجماعة, you are decreasing the Jamaat على اعتبار المطر, especially giving consideration to the rain. وفي تأخير الأسر, and then don't delay the Asr. Why? Because too much, because remember it's dark now, so you can't see now. The clouds are in, it appears maybe the sun is set. وفي تأخير الأسر, and in delaying the Asr, توهم الوقوع في الوقت, the fear of it taking place في الوقت المكروه, in the makruh time. So on a normal day you can look and you can see, hey, yeah, the sky is reddening, the sun is weakening, right? So I must read before this. But on that day, a cloudy day, you can't see when the sun is becoming weak. You can't see when it's a makruh time, etc., etc. So what's going to happen? The chance of falling the makruh time is great. So do not delay it too much, right? Right? And they say why? لأن تلك المدة مديرة. Because that is, and if you look at the Asr time also, it's a long time. So the chances of missing it, etc., is very little, right? One Abi Hanifa also narrated from Abi Hanifa, التأخير في الكل للاحتياط. That there's also opinion that say all the salahs, not like the division we done earlier. وعن أبي حنيفة التأخير في الكل للاحتياط, right? Uh, that it's better to delay it all. Why? Because as I told you, came reasons I gave you earlier. Better delay it and run the rest of being after the time rather than hastening it and running the rest of it being before time. Why? التأخير في الكل الاحتياط. Better. Why? Don't you see? ألا ترى, don't you see أنه يجوز الأداء بعد الوقت? Don't you see that you can make أداء even after the time you can make قضاء? But right, لا قبله, there's no place where you make it before the time in the Hanafi madhab. Right. So alhamdulillah, that has brought us to the end of that discussion. Tomorrow, فصل في الأوقات التي تكره فيها الصلاة. Tomorrow, inshallah, chapter of the times in which salah is makruh. Allah Ta'ala give us a tawfiq to practice on this. Allah Ta'ala give us a tawfiq to implement. We're studying it with the idea of practicing upon it and then conveying it to others as well. That's the primary. Our objective is for the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala primarily. Second, then to practice and intending to educate others, inshallah. Allah give us tawfiq. Subhanallah bihamdihi, subhanakallah bihamdika, wa la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.